Hello everybody, welcome to the I Am IT Geek YouTube channel. My name is Shabazz Dan and as ever I am the IT Geek. Welcome back to another video around my Australia immigration and kind of bringing you on the journey with me. Hopefully by now you kind of seen my announcement I made last week. I think this is the second video in just kind of going through my whole process over the last year really. Like I said, this has been going on since May 2022. Where I started this visa process, and it's been a long journey. To be fair, I need to show a lot of patience because a lot of things you kind of put in your head, like expectations, and it's without really knowing much about it. So I probably had some unrealistic expectations, and it's taken longer than what I first thought. But we are where we are. I am where I am, and I strongly believe everything happens for a reason. So in the last episode, I kind of showed you a quick overview of the visa agent that kind of helped me through this, Concept Australia. Their URL to their website is in the description, and also I explained that my sort of scenario was more, and this is after kind of a lot of discussions and advice from Concept Australia. The visa that best fit my scenario was what's called a subclass 186, sponsored permanent residency skilled application. So what I'd like to do today is just go through that sort of skills assessment and some of the stuff I actually had to do to get that skills assessment. So like I said, this started in May 2022. I didn't start the skills assessment until this year because essentially we had to wait and for my sponsor to be approved as a sponsor, or to be approved as my sponsor. So that took, like I said, a year. So it was really May that I started my process. So I want to, again, all this information's on the government website for the IMI as they call it IMI. So I'll put a link to the skills assessment part in the description as well. So again, this page is basically explaining the overview of skills assessment and the different type of visas you might need a skills assessment for. So you might need it for the general skill migration visa, employer sponsored visa, which is me, temporary skill shortage visa, temporary graduate visa. And then it goes on. So obviously I'm only particularly bothered about the sponsored visa. So again, it explains if you apply under this or under the labour agreement scheme as skills assessment is not required, but I am not applying under the temporary residency or under the labour agreement. Mine's the direct entry stream. So if you apply under the direct entry stream, a skills assessment is required. So I need to do a skills assessment. The relevant skills assessing authority for your occupation is indicated in the combined list of eligible skilled occupations. So let's just open this. Let me go through this exactly and show you the different types of skills that they're kind of looking for. It's like Matt, you never know. So again, once it loads, it explains to you the visas that are applicable for a skills application. So mine is right at the top there, the subclass 186. Either my internet's really slow or this page is just really busy at the moment. So it explains the visas that this is requirement is applicable for. Mine's the top one there. So it specifies the Australian New Zealand Standard Classification Occupation Code for each occupation, and then you can go down. So my selected visa, I need to select my visa first. So I kind of did all this a while ago, and then essentially you can look. So you've got accountant. If you go for, let's do a search for. So we've got accountant, actuary. We've got. I think mine was a network engineer. So network, computer and network and systems engineer. So this is the visa that so this is the skilled occupation for my visa that I went with in the end. So if I click on that, that'll take me. Yeah, so this explains essentially the list of skills that you need to prove that you have. So you need to be able to do these. You need to show that you've got the skill to do these tasks, or that you've done a job with these skills and that's met all these skills. So network specialist, network analyst, architect, consultant. So again, um, this again, I'll because I've put the link in for the skills assessment, you'll be able to get to this. Um, so this shows you the full occupation list. So if we go back to here, so yeah, okay, so getting a skills assessment, let's look at that first. So you need to contact the relevant assessing authority. So again, Concept Australia helped me with this. They did all this for me, so I didn't have to. But they sent me a whole list of things I needed to do. So again, this is very important. You get a kind of a professional to help, essentially. But if I explain exactly what I had to do and go through to get this, you'll be astounded. So at the time, obviously, I wasn't obviously ready to speak to my existing employer, which is obviously Net Company, because nothing was put, nothing was set in stone. I had to do all the application to see if I was going to be applicable. But I essentially so that meant I had to show. I think it's 3 years. Let me just try and find the document if I can. Is a document that tells you everything that you need to do, which I will open and share with you now. Again, the like Concept Australia showed me all this. So I had to essentially get references from my last two employers before Net Company. Let me see if I can try and find the full list of tasks that I had to complete. I've got it somewhere. I thought it was in here, but it's not. Anyway, so I essentially had to get a reference letter from my two employers before Net Company. So that was Concord Technology Group, and at the time they were called IDAS Architects, but then they changed to AHR. So again, it would be remiss of me not to thank Concord and AHR or IDAS Architects for essentially writing me a letter just to say that, look, Shabazz did these skills. He worked with us for this long. So specifically Craig McDade and Neil Roberts, massive thank you for going out of your way really to help me with this. And again, I don't actually know the ladies in the HR team now, but they were really helpful because they're obviously new. When I worked there nearly going 10 years plus ago, more than 10 years, probably 15 years, it wasn't them. But again, thank you to AHR Global or IDAS Architects at the time for helping me. So I basically had to get a reference letter from both of those companies explaining the roles that I did there and the tasks that I completed. Again, they had to say how much I was paid, what my annual salary was, and what my job title was at the time, and the tasks that I completed. But those tasks had to be in line with these skills here. In the tasks include all this stuff. I had to make sure that my jobs were in line with all this. So again, rather than copying it word for word, I just had to make it sound like the specialist skills. And although my occupation did meet all these, you still, you had to show in the letters essentially. So I had two letters on letter-headed paper from IDAS and from Concord, basically giving my job titles. So I had a couple of different roles within both companies, my annual salary, and all the tasks that I completed, and between what dates did I have those two job roles. So that was the first piece really, which was in itself was a big thing, because again I had to speak to, and I'm very fortunate that I left both of those places in really good terms. So that's a quick note. Always, if you're going to leave somewhere, always leave on good terms. You never know why you might need help again. And I'm very, very fortunate that I left Concord, and I left IDAS on really good terms. Craig McDade and Neil Roberts, that I spoke to during this process, were really helpful, and just really went out of their way again to help me, which was really nice. So that wasn't the only thing though as well. I needed pay slips for my whole time there, showing So I need to show basically two proofs of payment to show that I'd been paid. So one of them was obviously pay slips, and again, unfortunately, because of the amount of time that's passed by since I was at IDAS or AHR, they didn't have pay slips. So I essentially had to show my bank statements from that period of time, and I also had to get a letter from basically employment history from HMRC, which you have to apply for. And again, I'll share all the links in the description. So I had to get an employment history from HMRC. But luckily enough, Concord still had all my pay slips, and they sent me them for my entire time at Concord. And then again, I showed bank statements and highlighted where I was paid by Concord. So already, I bet you're thinking, what the hell? Because that's what I was thinking at the time. So I had to show evidence from both companies that I'd worked there and the job that I'd done and the tasks that I'd done. I had to show payment history for to prove I'd been paid what they said I'd been paid. Two forms of that evidence. So like I said, for AHR / IDAS, it was because I couldn't get pay slips because it's been too long. It was bank statements, highlighted the payment, and it was HMRC employment history letter. And then for Concord, I showed bank statements, and I showed my pay slips. So again, quick note: keep your pay slips. Don't matter how long you keep them, just bloody keep them. You never know when you might go to Australia. And then it was stuff like I had to show you have to show qualification, certain qualification. Again, I'm fortunate enough that I've got a degree in computing information systems. So again, I didn't have that. I didn't have my certificate, so I had to apply to Bradford University, which is where I went, and send me a copy of my transcript and my certificate with my degree on. And again, stuff like your driving license, my CV, birth certificate, stuff like that. So it took me about 3 weeks in total, probably more, about 3 weeks to get all this scanned in and sent across. And that was only my skills application. And that took about 12 weeks to come back approved. So that was in itself a big thing, and I was massively relieved to get that. But then there was still the main part of my application with my family. So I'm going to leave that for another video. I think that's been enough for this one. There's been a lot to talk about. So as I mentioned, I've tried to go into a bit about my subclass 186 employee nomination scheme. And some I've kind of gone through the skills application piece at the moment. So I want to still talk about the main application that I had to fill out after that, because there's a lot of things you need to do for that, like a police report, etc. So I'll explain all that in the next video, but also the health checks and how you go about doing that. And I'll explain a little bit about the costs. So again, you have to pay obviously your visa agent, so Concept Australia, which cost me it's about over $1,000 for the skills application, and then over about $1,000 for the main completion of the application. And then obviously you pay separately for the visa application. I think the visa application total was about just under 5k pounds for the family application. So again, it's not cheap. So yeah, again, you see the cost of that, but it's something that I feel is worth it. And like I said, this opportunity is only going to come once in my lifetime. So that's it for this video. I hope you're enjoying it. A bit of insight into what it takes to go through this whole process. I am trying to drop some YouTube shorts and stuff like that, just showing some of the stuff we're going through at home. But yeah, thank you for watching, and up until next time, goodbye.